right now at 7.
Concerts, plays, and other live entertainment coming back. We're live with the new timeline and why the exciting announcement might be too good to be true.
It really just accelerates your burn rate, you lose money.
We don't have much of an operating business without the music industry.
We are live at the Pacifica Pier, which is reopened after some damage this past winter. A cool Easter weekend forecast for the Bay Area. I've got details coming up.
Plus, down to the final shot. Vern Glenn shows us the crazy ending just a little while ago for Stanford women's basketball.
This is one of those survive and advance, and it was not a pretty game for us.
Right now on the KPIX 5 News at 7, streaming on CBS Bay Area. 2 weeks from now, we could be watching live concerts, plays, musicals, and other indoor events. Good evening. I'm Ken Bastida.
And I'm Elizabeth Cook. KPIX 5's Andrea Borba is live with the venues that say they still won't make enough money. Andrea?
Well, Ken, Elizabeth, they say the profit margin is very thin, but here's how this works. Depending on what tier the venue is in, what county that venue sits in, depends on exactly how many people can be inside. But if the people inside are either tested or fully vaccinated, the capacity increases in every single tier.
We're the first to close. We'll be the last to open.
The lights went out at venues across the Bay Area on March 13th, 2020. No music, no dancing, no laughter. On April 15th, that is set to change as the state lifts restrictions on indoor venues as counties move through the color-coded COVID-19 tier system.
And it does feel like there's a hope of optimism in the air.
Despite StubHub flooding inboxes with concert announcements for the fall, don't expect venues big and small to come roaring back to life in mid-April. Rob Reddy is the co-founder of Piano Fight in the Tenderloin.
While it's obviously a great step in the right direction, back to some sense of normalcy with venues, venues are a low margin business, and when you open anything less than full capacity, it really just accelerates your burn rate, you lose money.
It's not just the venues themselves, now deeply in debt, that will be getting a boost, but supporting industries as well. Sharky Laguana owns Bandigo, which rents touring vans to bands.
Back here, this is where the bands put all their music equipment.
It's critically important. We don't have much of an operating business without the music industry.
UCSF epidemiologist Dr. George Rutherford urges caution, though, about reopening too quickly.
There's dialing back aplenty going on in the upper Midwest and the East Coast now because they have gone too far too fast.
Now, it's not just small venues worried about decreased capacity. We have a statement from Another Planet Entertainment. That's the company that runs Bill Graham and the Fillmore. They say until guidelines allow events to operate close to or at full capacity, we are not able to produce concerts in a way that makes financial sense. We urge everyone to get vaccinated. This is the quickest path to a safe return to concerts. Ken, Elizabeth?
15% is just not going to do it for these guys. They got to be patient. Andrea, thank you for that.
Well, people 50 and over have been eligible for the vaccine for 2 days now, but scoring that appointment can feel like trying to buy tickets to a sold-out show. Today, this new Kaiser clinic helped get vulnerable people get their shots in the East San Jose, but getting an appointment in Santa Clara County still remains difficult. When the guidelines changed yesterday, appointments filled up almost immediately. It could take a few weeks for the supply to meet demand.
I think that the vaccine supply is ramping up. It's ramping up, and we're going to get to the point where we're going to have probably more vaccine than we need. That's where we want to be.
Health experts say the state is currently vaccinating 350,000 people a day.
Pacifica Pier back open to the public just in time for the Easter weekend. It has been closed since it was battered by some high tides and strong winds back in January.
Chief Meteorologist Paul Hagan is live on the pier, hanging out, talking weather with some folks fishing out there. Hey, Paul.
Yeah, plenty of folks still down the pier enjoying the fact that it has reopened and trying to catch themselves a little something. I think a lot of people have a line in the water without any bait on it, just to have a line in the water. I did see one guy about an hour ago hauling a pretty good sized crab though, so he found some success out here, and it's a beautiful time of evening with a lot of clouds overhead, but just a little bit of sunshine kind of ducking underneath and through those clouds so it makes for that pretty view behind me. Let's take a look at temperatures across the Bay Area, and still a wide variety of temperatures out there right now. It's 50 degrees at Half Moon Bay, and that's about the temperature here in Pacifica as well, with a decent onshore breeze, not too strong by coastline standards. Temperatures have dipped down into the 50s for most of us, but still hanging on to the low to mid 60s in the Tri-Valley, mid 60s right now in Fairfield as well. These temperatures are going to drop down into the 40s later on tonight as the fog makes a return for much of the Bay Area overnight. As we head into the rest of Easter weekend, we're going to be seeing, well, near normal temperatures, but it looks like a pretty nice weekend overall. We'll get into the details of that coming up in just a few minutes.
When the man from Minnesota has a hat and gloves on, Liz, you know it's cooling off.
You know it's cold. Thanks, Paul. Looking live at Oakland this evening, the city's new police chief is planning to restructure the department's investigative unit after a dramatic spike in homicides. Karen Keesley's son Powell Lee is one of 34 people killed so far this year, shot to death at a gas station in January. This time last year, there were 10 murders. Now Chief Lerone Armstrong is creating the Violent Crime Operations Center. It will deploy more investigators to crime scenes faster.
Allows you to work quicker, to follow up on more information, and hopefully to make key arrests in an expedited fashion. This level of violence is unacceptable, and my condolences to the families.
The Operations Center will also handle all gun crimes and support the department's ceasefire strategy, which works with high-risk people to prevent gun violence.
Well, guests are back in their rooms at a Fremont hotel tonight after two massive police responses in the past 24 hours. The bomb squad had to be called out to the Hyatt Place on West Warren this morning to investigate a suspicious package. Turned out not to be a bomb, but a 24-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of making a false threat. And just last night, there was a deadly police shooting in that hotel parking lot. Officers say that they were attempting to arrest a suspect on felony warrants when he pulled a gun. No word on exactly what he was wanted for. It was the second deadly shooting for Fremont police in 8 days.
Posters like these are about to roll out in BART trains and stations across the Bay Area. It's part of a new public safety campaign called Not One More Girl. The partnership with local community groups is meant to stop unwelcome sexual advances on trains. BART is also adding the option to report sexual harassment or groping through its safety app and in rider surveys.
This is the first of its kind initiative that takes on the daunting task of correcting a system that is a lifeline for many and addressing the wrongs that should never have existed to begin with. Girls shouldn't need an escape plan just to get to school.
Coming up next, what the CDC says fully vaccinated people can now do when it comes to traveling.
Many people think, well, now I'm vaccinated, I have a suit of armor, and I can do whatever I want.
Last-minute changes to the MLB All-Star game, why the league suddenly wants to move it, and Governor Newsom's response. Plus,
yeah, we had some challenges with the mobile food ordering.
The opening day glitches at the Oakland Coliseum, so we asked the A's president about the fans who never got their food.
And a look at a thrilling finish of the NCAA Women's Final Four semifinal. Stanford on the brink of a national title game.
And another live look from the Pacifica Pier, back open just in time for the weekend. It's much cooler tonight. Paul is back with a hat on and with what's ahead on the holiday weekend.
That's the thing about the madness. You lose, you cruise. The Stanford women are advancing to the national championship after an NCAA nail-biter.
Yeah, Vern, they don't get much closer than this. Is your blood pressure back to normal yet?
You know something, Liz? I need one of those recliners, kind of with the speakers in them, with like soothing sounds of waves crashing. I need that to come down from this one. That NCAA women's semifinal was a thriller. Stanford on the brink. We take it to San Antonio. 2 #1 seeds getting after it. South Carolina and Stanford in white. Pick it up under 2 minutes left. They didn't call the kick ball. Instead of a dead ball, it was a flip ahead to Cameron Brink. Layup. Cardinal up 5. But this is South Carolina we're talking about here. They had Destiny. Her name, Destiny Henderson. A 3 with 40 seconds left, and the Gamecocks led by 1. Next possession, Lexi Hall, missed layup. Haley Jones, right place, right time, bang! Stanford up 1. Jones at 24. 10 seconds left. Cardinal up 1. Turnover. South Carolina a chance to win it. Bria Beal drove, shot, missed. Aaliyah Boston a point-blank miss. And Stanford survived it, won it 66-65. Look at the emotion. As for the first time since 2010, Stanford is in Sunday's championship game against either Connecticut or Arizona.
They did have 2 good looks, and this is one of those survive and advance. And it was not a pretty game for us.
Luckily, she missed the tip in, but it was very hectic, but we just knew we had to get back and do everything that we could. So we left it out there, and luckily it paid off.
Boy, head coach Tara Vanderveer had one heck of a day. She was named AP's Naismith Coach of the Year this morning. That's a big national honor. And now this. Stanford moving on. This could be Tara Vanderveer's 3rd championship title in her resume. It's been a long time since the last one, 1992.
She is amazing, though. What a coach.
Vern, thank you for that.
Let's take a live look outside. You can see the Pacific Pier over there to the right of your screen. Look close. We might even see good old Paul. There he is.
He's out there. And it was a little chilly earlier. I imagine it's downright cold by now. You got the hat, the gloves, and you're from Minnesota, man. You're used to this.
Yeah, this should feel like summer.
It's been a while since I've lived in Minnesota, though, so I think my blood has thinned out. Grew up with that, you know, upper Midwestern blood that's as thick as porridge, and yeah, got a little bit spoiled by the mild temperatures the past couple of days. And it was still warm inland today. Here along the coast, temperatures have been hovering right around 50 degrees for most of the day, but it's still pretty out here, especially around sunrise. I'm going to allow Alex to pan off of me and show you what you actually want to see when you come to the coast, not some weather guy talking about what's going on, but we're looking down the coast here towards Maury Point, and the waves making their way on shore. Vern said he needed some kind of relaxation after that Stanford game. I think this is a pretty good view of that. Let's take a look at what's happening weather-wise as we head into Easter weekend. You can see a few people making their way through the beach there. A few beachcombers out there. Stronger onshore breeze has kicked in. It's going to continue to kick in as we head into Easter weekend. So as we wind the clock forward from Saturday into Sunday, we're talking about near average temperatures as we go through Easter Sunday. And it is going to be a dry weekend. The dry forecast is going to be sticking around for a while. Very limited rain chances farther down the line. Right now, as we look out across the bay, temperatures all over the place, anywhere from 51 degrees downtown to low to mid-60s farther inland for Livermore and Concord, but things are starting to even out a little bit, and will even out in the 40s by early tomorrow morning. Not much variation here, anywhere from 41 in Santa Rosa and Napa to 49 degrees in San Francisco. Some fog and low cloud cover to start the day on Saturday. Futurecast outlining in red those areas where the fog is going to be thickest, but it starts to back up as we head towards mid-morning, and it should be mainly confined to coastal areas as we head into midday and the afternoon. So temperatures will warm up. It's just a matter of how much. Here along the coast, not a whole lot. Along the bay, temperatures are going to be below average. Near average temperatures farther inland, mid to upper 60s, but that's going to feel cool compared to how spoiled we've been recently. Let's zoom in for a closer look. Along the coast, mid-50s. That would actually be warmer. Pacific only made it up to 51 degrees for a high temperature today. Mid-60s for the South Bay and upper 60s to around 70 degrees in the Santa Clara Valley. Tri-Valley reaches the mid-60s with some low 70s on the east side of the Diablo Range. That's not too bad for early April. And around the Bay, slightly below average. Upper 50s for San Francisco, low 60s for the East Bay, and low to mid-60s in the North Bay. Some of the fog may be holding on a bit longer there. Farther north, temperatures into the mid to upper 60s for Mendocino and Lake counties. Rain chances? What rain chances? Maybe a slight chance by Friday, but 20% does not warrant putting any rain icons in the 7-day forecast, and the pollen count is going to remain sky high as we head through the next several days without any rain to wash that stuff from the air. Temperatures don't change much as we head into the 7-day forecast, right around 70 degrees inland, low to mid 60s around the bay with mid to upper 50s along the coast. And returning live here in Pacifica, well, it's chilly, it's breezy, but there were a lot of people out here enjoying the fact that the pier is reopened. Good to see some return to normalcy, both in terms of the number of people out as the pandemic hopefully is drawing closer to the end, but also enjoying the fact that the pier has reopened after that damage that happened back in January. I will be back indoors for the 11 o'clock news, and I may be somewhat thawed out by then as well.
It's chilly, it's breezy, it's Pacifica.
There you go. 365
Exactly. What does
days out of
Dennis
the
say?
year.
How do you like it?
Exactly. We love it. Thanks, Paul.
Well, here's a look at your top headlines. The suspect who plowed his car into a police barricade at the U.S. Capitol today made several claims on social media that the government was after him. 25-year-old Noah Green was shot and killed after hitting two Capitol officers and allegedly pulling a knife on them. Capitol Police Officer William Evans also lost his life. The incident comes less than 3 months after the deadly January insurrection. Looking live at SFO, tonight the CDC now says fully vaccinated people can travel in the U.S. without getting a COVID test or going into quarantine. The agency also says vaccinated people traveling out of the country should still get a COVID test before flying back to the U.S. They should also be tested soon after returning. And if you are not vaccinated, CDC says you should still avoid unnecessary travel.
Many people think, well, now I'm vaccinated, I have a suit of armor, and I can do whatever I want. Unfortunately, that's not true because there are still so many things we need to learn about the vaccine.
And the All-Star Game is out of there. Major League Baseball is moving its midsummer event out of Atlanta in response to Georgia's sweeping new voting law that critics say will negatively affect communities of color. As for where the game will go, well, Governor Newsom tweeted earlier, "Hey MLB, feel free to give us a call. In California, we actually work to expand voter access, not prevent it." And can I guess? We'll see if the MLB actually calls back. We've got plenty of venues in California.
Plenty of options. One of them right down the block, world-class place.
No kidding.
For the All-Star Game. All right, Liz, thanks for that. Coming up next, the video almost looks like an April Fool's prank, but the new arrests in the South Bay associated with this are not a joke. Plus, there were a few glitches during opening night for the A's, but President tells me the level of excitement was off the charts.
And I saw people crying because they, it had been so long since they'd been at the ballpark.
Holy smokes. Then later, where some California tourists spotted this rare marine phenomenon. Well, right now, more than 10,000 A's fans are back at the Coliseum for the second game of the season. During last night's game, home opener, there were some glitches for fans due to COVID. You can only order food through the mobile app, and it never arrived for a lot of people. Food never showed up. The A's president told me earlier today that it was a learning experience.
I think we're going to add more, concession hawkers, so people who are walking the stadium with food options, including beer. With the COVID restrictions, we can't offer the ability of fans to just go up to the concession stands and order. So everything has to be done mobilely. And I think because it was a new app and because it was just slammed with people wanting to buy, it really got backed up and took a long time for people to order. People came and really enjoyed themselves. And, I saw people crying because they, it had been so long since they'd been at the ballpark and they were there with their families. And so, it was a really special moment to have the first big event back in the Bay Area.
Well, Mountain View police just quacked the case of the stolen rubber duck. The caper was caught on a camera earlier this month. 3 suspects pulled up and steal the duck from her yard. Yesterday, police tracked the suspects down to a home where they say they also found drugs and burglary tools. As for the little duckie, she is back to delighting passersby from her neighborhood nest.
Coming up next, lucky whale watchers who saw a whole lot more than whales. Wow. People are calling this a dolphin megapod. A group of tourists were treated to this spectacular sight near Dana Point in Orange County. Experts say a dolphin pod is normally fewer than 200, so this megapod of 1,000 is somewhat rare.
That's amazing. Can you imagine being on the boat and all of a sudden you see this just endless dolphins swimming around you. Incredible.